Have you ever stood in the middle of a crowded, brightly lit room, surrounded by the hum of laughter and the clinking of glasses, and felt a sudden, sharp urge to simply step through the back door and never return? You watch the faces around you, noting the frantic energy they put into being seen and remembered, but internally, you are already calculating the distance to the exit. You feel a strange, cold comfort in the thought of a life where no one knows your name, where your digital footprint is a ghost, and where your absence is the only thing you leave behind. You might find yourself deleting old photos, withdrawing from social circles without explanation, or daydreaming about moving to a city where you are a total stranger. You wonder if this desire to evaporate is a sign of a broken spirit or a lack of courage, and you carry a secret guilt, fearing that your need for invisibility makes you cold or unlovable. You are sitting alone in your car in a quiet parking lot at night, watching the rain streak across the windshield. The engine is off, and the silence inside the cabin feels like a thick, protective blanket. You watch the occasional passerby under the glow of a street lamp, and you find a profound sense of relief in the fact that they do not know you exist. In this private stillness, the weight of being a person with a history, a reputation, and a set of expectations simply falls away. You aren't running towards something. You are seeking the grace of being nothing to no one. The world outside demands that you be a brand, a story, and a constant participant. But here, in the dark, you are finally free from the exhaustion of being perceived. The world often looks at your desire to fade and labels it as depression, antisocial behavior, or a failure to thrive. Society tells us that visibility is a metric of worth, and that those who choose the shadows must be hiding from a shame they cannot face. They characterize your withdrawal as a defeat, assuming that you have given up on the game of life. They are wrong. This is not a retreat of the weak. It is a sophisticated defense of the overwhelmed. When you choose to disappear, you are not seeking an end to your existence. You are seeking an end to the performance. The society around you has become a theater of constant surveillance, and your invisibility is the only way you can find a space that is truly your own. You are not a coward, you are not a failure, and you are not the only one who finds beauty in the act of vanishing. You are not a person who has lost their way. You are a person who has recognized that the road everyone else is walking leads to an exhaustion you can no longer afford. We invite you now to step into the cool, quiet shadows of this sanctuary. Put down the heavy mask of the person you are expected to be, and let the light of judgment fade into the background. Welcome to Tea Psychology. In this space, we do not view your need to disappear as a symptom to be cured. We see it as a profound survival strategy. We are not here to pull you back into the spotlight. We are here to understand why the light began to burn. We are here to translate the language of your withdrawal and honor the wisdom of your silence. Your body records the history of being hunted by expectation. To understand why you choose to vanish, we must look at the way the brain handles the persistent stress of social evaluation. Within your mind, there's a complex network involving the medial prefrontal cortex and the amygdala, which constantly monitors how others perceive you. In an era of hyperconnectivity, this system is in a state of permanent high alert. When the amygdala perceives social judgment as a constant threat, the brain begins to seek an off switch to prevent total system collapse. While the world sees your withdrawal as a choice, your neurobiology sees it as a necessity. The striatum, which usually processes the rewards of social interaction, can become desensitized by overexposure and the fear of rejection. When the reward of being seen is outweighed by the cost of being judged, the brain naturally gravitates toward invisibility as a way to conserve emotional energy. This is a brilliant evolutionary adaptation. If the tribe has become a source of threat rather than safety. The safest place for the individual is the periphery. By disappearing, you are resetting your nervous system and reclaiming the energy that was being drained by the endless need to perform. Behind these layers of withdrawal lies the legacy of a world that was too loud, too demanding, or perhaps too dangerous to inhabit as your authentic self. To understand the scars that formed this habit of vanishing, we must look at the specific history of the gaze. Many who feel the urge to disappear grew up in environments where being seen was synonymous with being criticized, controlled, or utilized as a tool for someone else's emotional stability. If you were a child whose every move was scrutinized, or whose achievements were the only currency for affection, your mind learned that visibility is a trap. It's recorded as a deep-seated association between the eyes of others and a loss of autonomy. For many, the childhood origins of this habit are found in the fawn or freeze responses. If your early caregivers were unpredictable or overbearing, you may have developed a hypervigilance that never truly shut down. You learned to scan the room, to predict the moods of others, and to mold yourself into whatever shape would keep the peace. In that constant molding, the true you had to be hidden away in a secret internal cellar for safekeeping. As an adult, the urge to disappear is simply the final stage of that hiding. It is the moment when the effort of maintaining the facade becomes more painful than the loneliness of being absent. You aren't leaving people. You are trying to find the person you had to bury. Your body remembers the specific type of exhaustion that comes from being an emotional anchor for adults who could not hold themselves up. It's recorded as a heavy, dragging sensation in the limbs whenever a social obligation arises. You were taught that to be present meant to be responsible for the happiness of everyone in the room. Disappearing, then, is the only way you know how to resign from a job you never applied for. It is the ultimate boundary for someone who was never allowed to say no while standing in the light. By vanishing, you are finally reclaiming the right to exist without being useful. The cost of continuing this habit is a profound sense of existential ghosts. While disappearing provides immediate relief from the pressure of performance, it also prevents the nervous system from ever learning what it feels like to be safely seen. When you vanish, you protect yourself from the sting of judgment, but you also starve yourself of the warmth of genuine connection. You begin to feel like a visitor in your own life, watching the world through a thick pane of glass. This creates a state of perpetual in-betweenness, where you are neither fully here nor fully gone. The energy you save by not performing is slowly consumed by the maintenance of your invisibility, leaving you in a quiet, gray stasis where time passes but nothing grows. Behind these layers of silence is the fear that if you were to truly stand still and be seen, there would be nothing there to look at. You have spent so long perfecting the art of the exit that you have forgotten how to build a home. You carry the map of 1,000 escape routes, but you lack the blueprints for a single foundation. This fragmentation is not a flaw in your character, but the inevitable result of a life spent in retreat. You are living in a fortress of your own making, but the walls that keep the world out are also keeping you in. Behind these layers of exile, the path toward a different kind of presence does not begin with a forced re-entry into the noise. It does not require you to suddenly become a person who loves the spotlight or who thrives in the center of the room. The first movement of healing is the radical act of acknowledging that your disappearance was an act of love for yourself. It was the only way you knew how to protect the small flickering flame of your identity from being extinguished by the gale of other people's needs. Your body records the moment you stop judging the flight and start honoring the survivor who chose it. The data shows that integration happens when we begin to create micro-presences. You do not need to show your whole soul to the world at once. You can begin by being seen in ways that carry no cost. This might mean sitting in a library where you are around others, but not interacting, or sharing a piece of your work without your name attached. You are teaching your nervous system that it is possible to be perceived without being consumed. you are practicing the art of being a person who can stand in the light while keeping their internal cellar door locked until they choose to open it. We invite you to view your invisibility not as a permanent state, but as a sanctuary you carry with you. You can learn to be presently absent, to move through the world with a clear, firm boundary that says, I am here, but I am not available for your projections. This is the transition from a fearful disappearance to a powerful privacy. You are moving from being a ghost who is afraid of the light to being a person who owns their own shadows. Every time you say no to an expectation and stay in the room, you are reclaiming a square inch of the territory you once surrendered. Your body records the grace of being known by a few rather than being perceived by the many. The psychological solution to the urge to vanish is not widespread visibility, but the cultivation of witnesses. These are the rare individuals who do not demand a performance, who do not require you to be an anchor, and who allow you to be quiet without asking why. Finding even one person who can look at you without wanting to change you is the antidote to the trauma of the gaze. In their presence, your nervous system can finally lower the shield, and the energy you spent on vanishing can finally be used for being. The silence tells us that you are worthy of existing, even when you are not performing. You are not a half person because you prefer the periphery. You are a complete being who simply has a different relationship with the light. You are like a deep-sea creature that is perfectly adapted for the dark, whose beauty is not diminished just because it is rarely seen by the surface. You are the consciousness that survived the hyper-visibility of the past, and that consciousness is now allowed to choose its own level of exposure. You are not a monster. You are not a failure. You are a person who is learning how to be seen on your own terms. You are the architect of your own boundaries, and you are finally building a home that is safe enough to stay in. As you prepare to return to the world outside, stay connected with us here. Subscribing to T Psychology is a quiet way to remind yourself that there is a community of people who understand the beauty of the exit. It is a soft signal to your soul that you are beginning to value your own peace over the pressure to be perceived. We are here to walk beside you, whether you are standing in the center of the room or lingering in the doorway. If you know someone who feels the weight of the world's eyes and longs to evaporate, please share this mirror with them. We often cannot see our own survival strategies until someone else describes the shape of the shield for us. By sharing this, you are telling them that their need for distance is not a defect, but a sanctuary. Leave a comment below with a single word that describes the space where you feel most safe. Let this be a ritual of acknowledging your need for sanctuary without shame. We do not need your story. We only want to witness your presence in this digital quiet. Let this comment section be a place where we acknowledge that disappearing was how we survived, but appearing on our own terms is how we will live. The silence of the room is now yours to keep. As you move back into your day, remember that the person staring back at you in the mirror is not a ghost. You are a survivor who is learning to occupy their own space. The childhood plan of hiding is over. The shield has done its job. You can step into the light now, not because you have to, but because you choose to, one small, quiet step at a time. Stay gentle with your heart. We will be here for you in the next quiet space. Thank you for being part of T Psychology.